Everybody remember, it's your responsibility to expect this to be a great day. You know, often we talk about the idea of the critical importance of your personal and interpersonal associations, those people you hang around with most, interact with most on a regular basis. Today, as we revisit that idea, I'd like for you to consider that idea from the perspective of your personal habits, both the habits that you are aware of and the habits that you're not so aware of. So the way I like to illustrate the importance of your interpersonal relationships is by having you imagine ice in boiling water. You know, what happens when you drop ice cubes into a pot of boiling water? Well, the obvious thing to most is that, well, the ice melts. But in actuality, what actually happens is the ice does in fact melt, but the boiling water cools down just a little bit, because that's the way energy works. Thermodynamics, you know, energy flows from the most agitated or the most excited state downwards, so from the hottest to the coldest. But what happens in that state of the ice cube is, regardless of how cold that ice cube is, or regardless of how hot the boiling water is, or how long you let the ice cube stay in the water, or how short you do it, the minute it hits that water, that energy starts to transfer. So the ice does in fact melt, but the boiling water does in fact cool down just a minute bit. So here's the thing, the same dynamic happens with people when you hang around with people. You know, whether you realize it or not, you are becoming a little bit of the people you hang around as they are becoming a little bit more of you. And the metaphor of boiling ice is interestingly consistent with some very powerful notions. One being the fact that energy flows from the most intense state down. So whoever's committed to their beingness, whoever's committed to their way of life, when two people are together, they're probably going to have the dominant effect on each other. So here's the question I have for you. You know, when in your fitness quest, you know, if you're trying to become super fit, how many people in your life or around you, or do you interact with on a regular basis that are super fit? For those of you in business and launching businesses or trying to change careers, how many people that you interact with on a regular basis are doing that or have done that? For those of you, and this can expand out to all elements of your life. If you hang around with people that read a lot, chances are over time you will find yourself reading more. If you hang around with people that, you know, treat certain segments of the population with disdain or with hostility, if you hang out with them long enough, over a period of time, you will find yourself doing the same thing. We are, in fact, who we hang around. Who we hang around actually becomes a little bit of us as well. So now think about this idea from the context of your habits. Not only the habits you're completely aware of, the ones that you consciously put in place, but the dozens and dozens and dozens of habits that you have that you never think of. These habits are subject to the same law of thermodynamics, if you will. You hang around with people that have different habits than you. There's a habit transfer. You pick up some of theirs, they pick up some of yours, and those that are most committed and most active around their habits probably have the dominant influence. So here's a reminder for those of you that don't realize how much of an under the influence of our habits we are. Here's a simple exercise you can just do today as a reminder. Whatever hand, if you wear a wristwatch, just change hands right now. Just change the wrist you have that watch on. And throughout the remainder of the day, as you habitually look at the wrong arm, the arm that you usually have your watch on to see what time it is, just let that be a little casual reminder of that you are driven by your habits. But then also let it be a precursor to the idea that your habits are subject, your habits are constantly changing, are subject to the influence of those people that you hang around with and interact with most. The most powerful thing you can do in many cases is just get a grip, a handle, take ownership of those people in your close interpersonal circle. And unfortunately, in some cases, some people shouldn't be in that circle. They just should not be in that circle. And in the occasions where you have to let some people, push some people out of that circle, this is one of the toughest, hardest things you can do, because a lot of these people have close social or family ties, but they're not aiding you. And if you don't have positive people that you can augment your circle with, now comes one of the hidden true values of a diet of personal growth and development. You know, listening to tapes and watching videos and going to seminars and getting mentors. This one of the most powerful effects this can have in your life is just that you're augmenting your personal circle, your interpersonal relationship, that conversation you have on a consistent basis with somebody or a group of people that are actually supportive and aiding you in taking steps forward, as opposed to aiding you unconsciously in walking you backwards. Something to consider.